What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Lou Reviews. While some may approach this subject with unquestioning belief, I'm here to encourage skepticism and a rational exploration of the unknown. We'll dive deep into the claims, separate fact from fiction, and sift through the evidence to get to the truth. Our mission to challenge the conventional wisdom, to ask tough questions, and to shed light on the mysteries that continue to captivate our collective imaginations. Today we will be discussing... What are we going to be discussing today? Oh, yeah. UFO hearings are here. They're coming. So it looks like we are going to be getting our hearings on the 13th. We're going to go over who's going to be there, but more notably, who's not going to be there. And we'll get into that in a second. But before we do, I want to say hello to everyone who's in the chat, who's here. Pat Calabria, what's up? Yo, back at you. Blaster Axe, Fifi Barbora, Simon Fly, Morty Matt, Railroad Bum, Carl Man, Dave B, Red Panda, Nemesis BX. You guys, thanks for being here. Share the show, like the show, subscribe, ring the bell. If you want to donate, you got a super chat. You got a dying question that just absolutely must be answered. Super chat's a great way to get it answered. Man, that's it. That's the introduction. So I hope you guys are having a great week. Normally we do our shows on Friday. As I've told you guys here lately, the schedule's been wonky all over the place, but when I do a show, I will always try to do it at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So we have a Thursday show today because I can't do a show tomorrow night. And we had a little bit of news pop. We have a new president-elect, which has been interesting. And we've got some new UFO news. So let's get to it, shall we? Let me put this over here. It's been funny to see the UFO community kind of just reacting to all of the... not reacting, I'd say a better way of putting it is kind of just catching up to what we've been saying for the better part of 2 years. It's just wild, you know, and it the things that it's finally taken to sort of tip the scales in the direction of, oh, nothing that's come out of this narrative has come to fruition whatsoever. You know, so it's fun to see people have finally caught up. I wish they would have caught up sooner. I tell you, the one thing it definitely shows is who's reliable information. Because, I mean, again, 2.5 years ago, we were screaming at the top of our lungs and laying out in detail why this narrative shouldn't be trusted. And it took 2 years for researchers and the community as a whole to be like, oh, these people lie all the time. All the time. What's that? They manipulate people and use people? Wow, weird. You know, it's... Again, just, you know, like, again, and I think of the first person I think of is, you know, UFO Joe Mergia. You know, he's such a great researcher, such a great, you know, what does he do? He still is transcribing things in 2024. That's how out of touch he is. But the idea that this guy's a young gun of ufology, one of the greatest researchers, he's popping up on Coast to Coast AM, he's being promoted by Jeremy Corbell, and it took that schmuck 2.5 years to catch up to the reality of everything that's happening. And if you really want to go back, you could go back even farther than that. It's been 7 years that it really took for these schmucks to catch up, since 2017. And you could go really back farther than that. You can go back to the late 90s with Joe Mergia and how wrong he's been for the last almost 3 decades. And these are the people who are held up as the great researchers in the UFO community. It's a joke. It's an absolute joke. Let's switch to our Lou Reviews studio view, shall we? We've got a couple of things here. Let me adjust the screen here. If you guys didn't notice, I also started the show a little later than normal. So I apologize for that. But there we go. Let's see here. Pinzer, what's happening? Thanks for being here. One of our mods, Pinzerloo, and member. Thank you for being here. We'll get to that video in a second. Okay, let's start here. John Greenwald posted, and this is really just D. Dean Johnson who's on top of this, who's really informing everybody as to what's happening. So, hearing announced, unidentified anomalous phenomenon exposing the truth. That's the name of the hearing. Set for November 13th, 2024 at 11:30 in the morning. By the way, we've already set up the live stream for it. You're going to want to be here on November 13th at 8:30 a.m. Pacific. We're going to have some guests hanging out. We're going to be live streaming the UAP hearing. You'll get our live reactions to it. Fingers crossed, we may even have Cosmic Judas. So stick around. That could be a lot of fun. But let's get into this. So, Congress of the United States, House of Representatives, and by the way, I said last week that the word on the street was that this wasn't going to happen. This wasn't happening. Like, they had originally done it, and then they were thinking about moving it or not doing it because of the election, and I guess everything turned out okay enough for them to move forward, or just that information was incorrect, one or the other. But here we are. We're having our second UAP congressional hearing. It's the House of Representatives Committee on Oversight and Accountability, which, by the way, this committee has zero access to top secret classified information. Okay. They do not get access to the best toys in the military arsenal that the United States Department of Defense has to offer. They are not part of the Gang of Eight. So let's see here. Joint Subcommittee Hearing Notice, November 6, 2024. Members, Committee on Oversight and Accountability. James Comer, Chairman. Subcommittee on Cybersecurity. The subject is Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Information, and this is the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border and Foreign Affairs Joint Hearing titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Exposing the Truth. On Wednesday, November 13th, 2024, at 11:30 a.m., the Subcommittee on Cybersecurity, Information Technology, and Government Innovation, again, another committee and here's the subcommittee, and the Subcommittee on National Security, the Border, and Foreign Affairs will hold a joint hearing titled Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena Exposing the Truth. The hearing will convene in room 2154 of the Rayburn House Office Building. If any members would like to submit documents, exhibits, or other materials into hearing record, they may submit them through the committee electronic repository at GOP Oversight Clerks at mail.house.gov. Members are encouraged to submit such materials at least 24 hours prior to the hearing, so they may be circulated to all the members prior to the hearing. Submitting such materials after this period or during the hearing may delay both their distribution to other members and their approval for entering it into the record. If you have any questions, contact the committee and Mallory Kogar and her address. So there you go. So there it is. All right. It doesn't list who's going to be there, who's not going to be there. I know D. Dean Johnson, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so yeah, right here. Representative Jared Moskowitz is both on House Oversight subcommittees that will hold a joint UAP hearing on November 13th. He's also one of the two official registered at the House Administration Committee's co-chairs of the House UAP caucus, the other being rep by Tim Burchett. Again, two congressmen who don't sit on any committees or subcommittees that have access to top secret information are heading this event. So whoop-de-doo. Let's see here. What else does Dean have to say? Okay, so there's a lot of people talking about who's going to be there, who the witnesses are going to be in particular. So the House UFO hearing update, the witness list has not been finalized yet, so I can't provide any definitive answers, but I've not heard about any potential witnesses that match Mike Disclosure's description. Rachel Partlow, communications director, Tim Burchett, email to Douglas D. Dean Johnson. So on November 2nd, Mike Disclosure said, quote, there will be a former member of the U.S. Army Special Forces who will be testifying about a TR-3B. Oh, yeah, we talked about this the other day. And basically, D. Dean Johnson shut this shit down, and Mike Disclosure changed his, they're talking about a TR-3B to, it changes to the person on the ground described it as a TR-3B. So it's like, it's funny how it changes. But let's see here. There was something. Yeah, right. Okay, so some X accounts have suggested that Chris Mellon would be or was likely to be a witness at the November 13th UAP hearing before two subcommittees of the Oversight and Accountability of the U.S. House of Representatives. I vetted those claims. Mellon will not be testifying this time. Hi, Douglas. This is from Chris Mellon. I agreed to testify in September and was very much looking forward to appearing. However, I have a long-planned trip with my wife that conflicted with the new date. Very disappointing, as I have some information and ideas to impart that I think could have been helpful and considerable interest. Perhaps another time. So this is the email response that has lit the UFO Twitter verse on fire. This is Christopher Mellon, the former Undersecretary of Defense, and one of the key parts and key cogs on the wheel that is making this UFO legislation and narrative and initiative. He is the driving force behind it, one of the biggest driving forces behind it. He's been advocating for this hearing for the last 7 years. He didn't go to the first hearing because the first hearing was being handled by David Fravor and Ryan Graves and Dave Grush. So no room for the guys, right? Let's just get the witnesses up there to testify. Now, this second meeting is supposed to be the guys behind the scenes, and also some witnesses. Chris Mellon was supposed to be at this hearing. And again, he's been planning for this for 7 years. And here he's got his chance. And he's not going to go. So let me get this straight. The thing you're most passionate about, the thing that you say is going to change the world and the paradigm, and usher in a new technology and age of understanding where we are in the universe, and you're going to forego the meeting that it tells the American people exactly what's happening because you have a long planned trip with your wife that conflicts with the date. So I guess disclosure is not more important than a vacation. A vacation for someone who, by the way, is retired. So all of this legwork, all of this behind the scenes grinding, just piss away. Like, how often do you get a chance to testify before Congress the reality of UFOs and aliens visiting our atmosphere, visiting our planet, interacting with humanity? Because I haven't seen many. And now here's your chance to have two in pretty much a year apart, and you're going to not show up because you've got, a cruise or someone said a trip to Disneyland. It's, if this was so important, if this was so real, I couldn't imagine a wife or a supportive partner not being like, well, you've been working 7 years on this. I would be kind of greedy of me to go, well, we already paid for the plane tickets to go to Italy, where we've been several times, you know, and I'm not going to give up those tickets for your UFO disclosure hearing in Congress. Like, what kind of partner? Yeah, there's just so many questions as to why you're not showing up for this, especially if you were agreed to testify already, according to you. Is your testimony, so your testimony is not more important than going to a pool in the Bahamas? Your testimony is not more important than having an authentic Italian dinner that's not at the Olive Garden. It makes no sense. Because I know if I had been working on something for 7 years and the culmination of my work has finally paid off with a trip to testify before Congress and tell everybody what I've been passionately working on for 7 years, and my friends and family and loved ones going, well, you can't go. You got a trip planned. Remember? You're going home for Thanksgiving. Like, I think everyone in my family would be like, it sucks that you can't come, or it sucks that we got to cut our vacation short. But I understand how important this is to you. I understand all of the late nights and the conversations you had with lawmakers and the arguments that you had with colleagues behind the scenes, the connections that you had to reach out to make this happen. And you get the opportunity and you're like, nah, I'd love to, but yeah, I have a long planned trip with my wife that conflicts with the new date. But perhaps another time. Perhaps another time. That line right there to me, like, perhaps another time. I don't know if you're going to get another time. Especially considering that your UAPDA has failed now twice. This could be your last shot, and you're going to piss it away. Why? Because you have a long planned trip with your wife. Okay. Perhaps another time, Mr. Mellon. And UFO community that has been backing this guy up and fighting for him and putting themselves out there to defend his viewpoints and the work that he does behind the scenes, and he's fighting for you. He's fighting for you until he gets a vacation. Until he gets a long planned trip, you know. Oh, who knows? He might be going to see the Pope. He's going to go wait in line to see the Pope or something. Who knows? I guess I don't know what would be more important than that for him. But apparently it's just a vacation. Perhaps another time. You got that? You got that, believers? You got that, Lou Elizondo heads? You got that, researchers and boots on the ground investigators? Perhaps another time. Go the fuck home. Go fuck yourself. Perhaps another time. Ciao. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It's like that David Spade sketch in SNL where he's a stewardess, just say bye-bye on your way out the plane. Yeah, this plane's not going anywhere. You know? This plane is not going anywhere, you guys. But yet you continue to buy tickets for this airline. You continue to buy tickets and spend your money on an airline to nowhere. Every time, I mean, just about every time you show up to the airport thinking you have a flight, they take your bags. They even let you sit in the plane. And then just when they're about to pull the gate from the plane, they go, sorry, passengers, but we're not going anywhere. Perhaps another time. Get the fuck off the plane and go home. Thanks for your money. No refunds. Bye-bye. The nonchalantness and the throwing away of the most important discovery in humanity, according to them, just, I guess, isn't that important. And that should speak volumes again to you on what the reality of this narrative is. And it's not just the Mellon narrative, just the UFO narrative, period. All of it. All of it. The teleporting planes, the abductions, the close encounters of the second kind, the, summoning craft with your brain, like Jay from Project Unity. All of it is bullshit. And there's way more evidence to suggest that than there is evidence not. Every time you guys go to your disclosure airline, there's no flight. Every time. I don't care if it's Jeremy Corbell. I don't care if it's Ross Coulthart with his craft so big it can't be moved. They had to build a building around it. Like, how fucking stupid is that? That is the dumbest, most insulting one to me of all of them. Along with Bob Lazar and, yeah, we've got a piece of Element 115. We could show it tomorrow and prove this whole thing to be real. But no, we're just going to put it in a case and kind of forget where it is for 3 decades. We're going to give you fake UFO videos and fake UFO pictures and fake UFO stories, and we're going to tie them to fake death switches and tease it all for another fucking episode of our podcast. And then when you listen and pay for the behind the scenes access and you listen to the episode, guess what? There's nothing in it. They got you again. Perhaps another time. Honestly, that should be like on the fucking... If ufology has a tombstone, that should be on the fucking tombstone of ufology. Perhaps another time. Maybe in another 80 years, we'll get some clarity. Even though the clarity and the answers are staring you right in the fucking face. It's right there in your face. If you're a believer of this nonsense and you're looking at this, all of this data that's slapping you in the face as to, yeah, this is just a bunch of nonsense being pushed by a bunch of people just like me. They just happen to have a better job and a little bit more access to secrets. But they're just as gullible and just as predictable as I am when it comes to my belief systems. It's wild to think that there is an entire cadre of people within our intelligence communities that are ghost hunters and paranormal researchers and go to hotels, meetings, thinking that they're real, like when John Ramirez came on the show and he's like, yeah, I went to a meeting at a Holiday Inn where they told us about alien hybrids and how aliens have been abducting humans and creating a new species, and that some of that work is being put back into our gene pool, and only special people with the special inside this special gene pool are gonna make it in the future. Like, just really stupid shit. And that guy was a CIA agent. And when we grilled him on these things, and respectfully grilled him on these things, man, the pushback that we got. The pushback that we got was intense. It was one of the reasons our show started getting so much hate was the John Ramirez interviews. Pip says, I can't testify. My dog has worms. I mean, honestly, that would be a better excuse. It really would be. Perhaps another time. Vetted. Chris Mellon will testify at November 13th UAP hearing? Question mark? It's like he made is this a question? Chris Mellon will, in bold letters, all caps, Chris Mellon will testify at November 13th UAP hearing? Question mark? Huh? No. According to him, he's not. He's not. He's not testifying. Perhaps another time. Perhaps another time. Perhaps another time. I mean, that is just absolutely the dumbest fucking answer. Perhaps another time. This is what Stephen Greenstreet says. Chris Mellon tells Deeding Johnson that he can't testify to Congress about UFOs because he'll be on a trip with his wife. Mellon believes UFOs could be aliens, a revelation that would change human history. Quote, perhaps another time, he says. I mean, honestly, dude, like, you can't... The comedy writes itself in this community, and that is one beautiful example of it. Just beautiful example. Hey, you gonna be there to tell the world that UFOs are real and where to find them? Nah, I got a vacation planned. Perhaps another time. Okay, so this is interesting. Chris is awake while sleeping. One of these, her handle says, a hell of a hassle on Humble Quest, UFO experiencer, co-host of Elephant in the Room, We Are Not Alone podcast, Navy vet, MS Conscious 2024, JFK S of Psych. Whatever that means. Okay, JFK, whatever. A believer. And this is her getting her book signed by Lou Elizondo. She writes, Lou at the Tucson event highlights. My totally awkward meeting with Lou Elizondo at the Tucson event. I remember writing a tweet several years ago. I look forward to meeting you, she writes. I look forward to meeting you someday, sir. That was what she wrote him. Thank you to my amazing husband who drove me. I haven't been able to drive since my seizure incident in September. Ugh. Okay, so let's see what he says here. And again, like, this is like, I don't want to cast judgment here, but it's like just what we've read in this bio, right? Navy vet, co-host of a UFO podcast, UFO experiencer, and she's also suffers from seizures. It's a perfect combination, a perfect scenario for someone to fall into a hardcore belief system and think that she's meeting the hero that maybe might usher in some relief for the ailments on some level. Whether that's she'll ever admit that or not, that has to do with this fandom. It really does. Because deep down, a lot of these believers and experiencers, a lot of them that I've spoken to, are dealing with physical ailments, trauma, all sorts of stuff. And this alien thing is an escape for them. And in some cases, like in the case of Anjali, perfect example, she tells people to leave the hospital and seek the aliens' help instead. There's a really twisted, ugly element of that in this. We did a whole show on it. Please go check it out because it's some of the sickest shit. And so when I see fans like this, that's kind of that's immediately where my mind goes to. Immediately. But let's see this exchange. Her name is Chris Devine. Chris Devine. She predicted meeting him. Okay, weird. Look at his face. He's like, really interesting.
Hope I didn't disappoint you.
I hope I didn't disappoint you. Honestly, it's very charming. Lou's a charming guy when you meet him, and this is part of it. You know, like he's always got a quick rebuttal to something you say to him. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of me. Like that, you know, just being a charming fellow, being able to talk to people. He's really good at that. You absolutely did not. That immaculate chandelier was awesome. I loved when you presented that picture of a reflection of a chandelier in the wrong part of the world. Oh my God, not disappointing whatsoever. Could you please sign my book? I predicted that I would meet you and that you would say yes to signing my book. If you can make it out to me, let's see. What did you say?
My name is Chris. Make it out to me. And then my
Krys. You know, just like how you spell Chris. Krys. Divine. Yes, that's on my birth certificate. And I'd like to get one from my podcast co-host, Ariel.
I would like to get one for my podcast co-host, Ariel, and we would love to have you on the show. I know you're doing way big.
And we'd love to have you on the show. We just please come on my show. I predicted that you'd come on my show, so you have to come on. Give me your card. Don't worry about it. I'll be there. Because your name is Chris Devine. I know you're not going to ask me any difficult questions. And you believe all of the bullshit that came out of my mouth tonight, including a fucking chandelier? A picture of a chandelier that I called a UFO mothership? Fuck yeah, give me your card. Don't worry, we're going to put your podcast on the map. It'll be the highest downloaded podcast in your channel's history, I promise you. And guess what? I may never come back. I don't know. Unreal.
Women who like to talk about this topic, and we've had some amazing.
Two women that just love to talk about this topic. We have some amazing times. Yeah. Let me tell you how we spell it. There's no C, there's no H, right? It's C, it's K-R-Y-S. K-R-Y-S. Just the R and the S from Chris. Everything else is different.
K-R-Y-S.
Got it.
Awesome.
And then last name, Divine. Divine. D-E-V-I-N-E. That one is normal.
Former Navy, UFO experiencer.
Former Navy, UFO experiencer. Now I'm dealing with an awful cop in the city. Trying to find a command that is going to my salon.
Trying to find a command that I'm going to Seoul in a few weeks, so I'm hoping.
Good. Tell Gary it's live. Seriously. And this one here?
Yes, for Ariel, and it's A-R-I-E-L. Kind of like the incident. Randall's good friend of mine. Randall.
Look at that ball. Look at a little bit of hair back here. Lou? A little bit. What's going on? Happens to the best of us. But it's nice to see that you're not dyeing your hair jet black anymore. Let it natural, man. Let it be natural, buddy.
So, what? Oh, really?
Yeah.
One more time. A-L-I-E-L? Ariel. Okay.
Yeah, Ariel. You got it. And I hear you're Spanish.
I am. I'm Cuban.
Cuban and Spanish?
It's actually my
Your
first.
mom, right?
It's actually my first language. People look. I look like a gringo. But
Wait,
I'm
no.
actually. I know. I get all the time.
I'm Spanish and I don't speak it. I love it. Get a picture.
Yeah. Thanks for signing my book, and thanks for. Can I get a picture? So don't worry, guys. We'll see Lou Elizondo. There's the picture. Oh, yay. When I asked about Immaculate Constellation, he immediately stopped the question and said he could not discuss it. Sounds like there's a there. Cheers, everyone. November's going to be lit. No, it's not. November's going to be fucking stupid. And this hearing is going to be the first part of the stupidity. Tweet. Okay, so I also had many things I wanted to share about the event, but my headache knocked me out for a few days, so it's a little late. A couple highlights. Lou was invited to testify at the hearing on 11/3, depending on scheduling, which it seems to be working through by canceling upcoming events. Oh, okay, so he canceled those upcoming events so he could go testify. Okay, well, now we know. So it looks like Lou Elizondo is going to be on the list of people testifying. That'll be fucking classic. It's going to be great. He focused on the physics and nuts and bolts of the technology. And how did he focus on that lady who doesn't have a physics degree? Please tell us. Tell us how the physics and the nuts and bolts and the technology that he theorized about. Tell us how he focused on that. What specifically was so cool about it? I thought this was super interesting. He described the theoretical framework for spheres being the smallest form of bubbles that allow for a distortion. Let's see here. That allows for the distortion of what, lady? That allows for the distortion of space-time, anti-gravity, which he acknowledges. No one likes to call it that, though. Oh, love it. Can you tell us how the physics and science behind this works, or he's just saying this? No. Okay, good. As the various shapes of UAP are described, he expands on the shapes: spheres, discs, cubes, triangles, boomerangs, etc., noting that the largest shape is the large triangle that fits into a bubble. After that, the bubble is no longer efficient enough to hold. He publicly acknowledged the error of the chandelier photo and addressed it head on, while giving other examples of how something can appear as a UAP if not properly analyzed. Right. But the problem is that according to him, that was his job, to analyze things like that. That was his job, and he failed miserably. But no, it's cool. Sign my book. You're the best. He addressed it head on by not answering any questions at all about it. While I appreciated this acknowledgement, I do think there remains some diversion of responsibility to the 3-letter government official who gave it to him the day before. The day before? He noted that the Romanian incident was real, but the capture was not. He said that this is why we need crowdsourcing, so that people can find the truth. He took several questions from the audience. This was hugely diverse crowd, diverse in age, race, gender, for everyone complaining that we don't need to hear more about the people who are not firsthand witnesses. Remember, this is not about you. Ooh-wee. As people in the community, of course, we want more, but don't forget where you were 3, 5, 10, or 20 years ago. He's raising awareness for those who've never been exposed to the topic. In summary, I don't think of Lou as a hero, but I do think of him as a patriot. Okay. Splitting hairs here, really. He clearly cares about the topic, the importance of the topic, and the sacred right for each of us to know the truth, yet he won't share anything with us, okay? Go on. I'm not convinced that he's acting on his own. He may very well be part of a planned disclosure, but either way, he takes his mission seriously, and I respect that. Oh my God, this is so stupid. Like I said before, if you choose to criticize, then get in the ring, show your name, show your age, show your face, show every part of your life under a microscope. Yeah, well, I've done that, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what receipts you show. Chris is awake while sleeping. Crystal Divine, whatever your name is. It doesn't matter. Like, you can have former colleagues, former friends, former TV co-hosts, former buddies that used to interview him all the time come out and tell you how many times that they've got burned by him, used by him, manipulated by him, blackmailed by him, lied to by him. There's way more evidence for that than there is of anything else he brings to the table about UFOs. But go ahead, take your fucking picture with him. You know, get him to sign your book. Get all fangirly when you meet him. It's your belief system. You're wearing your belief system as like a fucking hat on your head, you know, that says, I believe you no matter what. I believe you no matter what. You're the best thing ever. And it's all right. All right. You know? So let's talk about this clip right here. For two reasons. The first is, well, the president, former president is now the president-elect. And in February, I think, right? February, there'll be a transition, and we're going to get another 4 years of Donald Trump as president of the United States. Now, of course, there's a lot of people in the UFO community very excited about this because they think, oh my God, he's going to be the disclosure president. You know, Eric Trump has talked about it, and Donald has talked about it, and he said he's going to release the UFO files. And I've shared my thoughts on this. I don't think Donald Trump believes any of it. I think he has seen some of the information, and I think he's getting the information and people telling him, yes, sir, it's top secret shit. It's our shit. But he always gives these stories about pilots that have come into his office, but he never says that he believes the pilots that came into his office and told him these stories. We're going to listen to the clip right now. And he's said this so many times. And I think he's telling you there's nothing there without telling you there's nothing there. I think if anyone was going to tell you, if Donald Trump genuinely knew about information that we were being visited by an alien species, I think he'd say something. I genuinely do. And if he did know that, at the very least, he wouldn't give you an answer like this. But let's listen to this exchange that he had with Joe Rogan on the Joe Rogan Experience. Because, of course, everyone knows that Rogan is incredibly interested by this topic. But let's listen to what the president-elect has to say.
Coming from space, Yes. And I know you're interested in that.
Oh, I'm very interested in that. How much did they tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you? How much can you tell?
So
How's that work? Is it like super
I
top
think
secret?
I can tell,
Tell me.
Well, based on Hunter Biden, I can say whatever.
Let me pause this here for a second. We're going to try and bump up this audio for you guys. Give me a moment, please. Let's try 2.5 decibels higher.
Whatever the hell I want, right? But now,
It's a little better.
but I interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing, I have to be honest. I have never been a believer. I have people that Area 51.
Okay, right there. He's like, it's never been my thing. I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. We got to listen to that one more time.
They tell you about that?
A lot.
Really?
Yeah.
What'd they tell you? How much can you tell?
So
How's that work? Is it like super
I think
top
I
secret?
Can tell,
Tell me.
I think I can tell. Yeah. I think I can tell, he says. He's been told a lot. Tell me, what's going on?
Well, based on Hunter Biden, I can say whatever the hell I want, right? But now,
There you go. So he knows, and I don't think he'd be afraid to really tell you, but listen to what he has to say.
but I interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing, I have to be honest.
I interviewed a few people. It's never been my thing, I have to be honest. I've never been a believer.
People that Area 51 or whatever it is, I think it's the #1 tourist attraction in the whole country or something. Area 51 in Las Vegas. Do you know that, right?
Sure, I know what it is.
So anyway, but it's a big tourist thing. So I interviewed jet pilots that say they saw something. If you saw them, you'd love to have them as your
I've had a
son.
couple in here. Commander David Fraser.
Yeah, he always does the, they're great. They're like upstanding citizens. They're tall. They're beautiful. They're in good shape. They look like, pilots. Okay. Yeah. I've had a couple of them in here. I've talked to them. Okay, go on.
Fravor.
Yeah.
I had him in, who had that sighting in 2004. Very, very compelling with video
compelling.
evidence, radar evidence.
No video evidence from David Fravor. No radar evidence from David Fravor. Again, those things conflict all the time. All the time. Just have to say that. Again, Brian Graves, his name's Ryan Graves, did not see anything. Tim Gallaudet has not seen anything firsthand. Dave Grush has not seen anything firsthand. No programs, no special access programs, no money trail, no employees, no facilities. They have seen nothing that proves that the government is working on reverse engineering alien craft. None of them.
Ryan Graves.
I don't believe his name, but I interviewed jet pilots that were solid people. Perfect. I mean, great pilots, great everything.
Perfect.
And
They're
they
perfect
said,
pilots.
We saw things, sir, that were very strange. Like a round ball, but it wasn't a comet or a meteor. It was something. And it was going 4 times faster than an F-22, which is a very fast plane, And it was round. which is in theory a great shape.
So when you were talking to these people,
It was round. In theory, it wasn't a great shape. Oh, by the way, I don't believe him. Like, I don't believe any of this. That's what he prefaced this with.
Was this something that you were compelled to have conversations
No.
about? Was this your personal interest?
A little bit. It's not a great interest for me, but it's a little interest. I get that question as much as almost any question. Do you think that we have aliens coming, flying around or whatever?
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life, because
Mars, we've had probes there and rovers and.
Oh my God, this guy, he doesn't want to say just flat out no, because then that'll probably lose him votes in the UFO fucking fanatics that love him. I don't know, but it's just like, no, he does. You can see it all over his fucking face. No, Joe, I fucking don't. Like, look at him.
aliens coming, flying around or whatever.
What do you think?
There's no reason not to. I mean, there's no reason not to think that Mars and all these planets don't have life, because
Mars, we've had probes there and rovers, and I don't think there's any life there.
Well, maybe it's life that we don't know, but maybe
there was life there at one point in time. This is the speculation about Mars, that Mars had an atmosphere at one point in time, a long time ago, that could support life. It also had large bodies of water, but we've had no evidence of even bacterial life that exists on Mars. But the universe is pretty vast.
It's not been a big thing for me. I mean, when I looked at what China did to this, they would have never done it with me, where they put the balloon up, and a lot of people thought for a little while that was
right.
Oh, oopsie.
It doesn't have a heat signature, photographic something that was making a second. There's something.
As I said, you'd love to have me as you
battleships that these are China. But we've had no evidence. Maybe there was life there at one point in time.
Sorry about that.
Speculation about Mars, that Mars had an atmosphere at one point.
Oh, by the way, fair use. This is transformative work. We're educating the public on the clip that we are sharing. This is covered under fair use and allowable by law. Hides in law grass. Lou, will the orange man disclose? No. No. Lou, you missed number 11. Read it. What's number 11? What did I miss? Does he be Bigfoot on Mars? Who knows, man? What's up, Matt? What's up, Riot?
A long time ago, that could support life. It also had large bodies of water, but we've had no evidence of even bacterial life that exists on Mars. But the universe is pretty vast. It's not been a big thing
for me. I mean, when I looked at
it's been a big thing for me. And then he talks about goes right into these Chinese drones.
They did to this, they would have never done it with me, where they put the balloon up. And a lot of people thought for a little while that was one of these things. So,
that's a lot of the speculation too, that some of these drones that hover over battleships, that these are Chinese drones, and that they're not UFOs.
They could be also.
There's some super sophisticated.
But I did interview, let's say 3 or 4 guys and without tremendous interest, if you had them, as I said, you'd love to have them as your children. Solid, beautiful people.
Solid, beautiful people, sir.
There's something there. Yeah, I've talked to quite a few of them.
They're not conspiracy guys.
Well, I mean, just the Commander David Fravor thing in 2004 off the coast of San Diego, they clocked that thing going from 50,000 feet above sea level to 50 in a second.
Yeah.
They don't know what it is.
That's tough to beat.
Yeah, they saw something in the water. It was hovering over that something that was making a disturbance in the water. They got video evidence of this thing. 2 different fighter jets with pilots in them saw it. There's, visual evidence, photographic evidence, video evidence, radar evidence. Whatever the hell it is, it moves in a way that would turn a human being into jello if they were inside of it. The G-force, no one would survive.
Oh,
so what is that? And it doesn't have a heat signature. They don't know what their propulsion system was.
Okay, the things do have heat signatures. There, as far as I know, I have not seen any radar footage of any of these things. There's no footage of any underwater UFO or footage of these things coming in and out of the water. So I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. Again, I think these people like Joe Rogan conflate all of these stories in the media into one thing or a handful of events. And this is not the case. This is not.
But
when you fly in some of these jets, these pilots have to be in great shape.
oh yeah, I flew with the
you
Blue
do.
Angels one.
Dude, Trump is, this guy, he cannot stay on fucking topic. He's always adding shit to a conversation like, these pilots, they gotta be in great shape. Yeah, okay. What the fuck does that have to do with the alien thing that they're talking about?
Once.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
an
got to
example.
fly. I guess
And
it's
those
an
are older,
FA-18.
and those are older machines.
And they're crazy.
When you fly in some of these things,
Oh, my
it's
God.
amazing. Yeah, but
Yeah,
you gotta-
When you fly in some of these things, it's amazing. I've never been in one. I'm too big to fit in one. But let me tell you, when you fly into some of these things and you talk to some of these pilots, oh man, wowee, amazing.
Imagine.
you got to be special.
But these things
gotta
that these
be
people are
special.
encountering are far superior to what we know of.
Yeah.
Is it possible that there's some military or government program that you weren't, that they didn't tell you about?
I think I had a great relationship with the military, basically, but I didn't like certain people. I would have gotten them out if I thought if the election was different, I would have fired all of them quickly. Most of them I did fire. Biden should have fired every military person involved with Afghanistan.
Okay.
He should have had a lot of firings.
Okay. But that's not what he's fucking asking you. Jesus Christ, dude. Just answer the fucking question. This is going to be our president, you guys. Again, like I said, every election before this, when I voted for the guy who didn't get in, I didn't vote for him, but I really hope he does a good job. And I'll say the same thing for this president. I didn't vote for him, but man, I hope he does a good job. But it's just moments like this where I'm like, for fuck's sake. For fuck's sake, man. Jesus Christ. What the fuck are you talking about?
If you look at him, he told Israel not to do anything, and at least Israel's not going to look at a bomb the way they would have been. Think if they listened to Biden. They'd be waiting for a bomb to drop on their head right now. He's been wrong about so much. I guess you'd have to say that she's been wrong, too, because, she always said they made the decision together. But Israel didn't follow his advice. And I think it was a very, the Middle East is rapidly changing. There are prophets that say the world will come to an end in the Middle East. You know that, right? And we have weapons today.
And that's where the clip ends, because he can't stay on fucking topic. It's either that or he just hates this topic so much because it's so stupid. To him, it's a waste of time. He'd much rather dog on Biden and Kamala Harris about their Israeli foreign policy, and Afghanistan. Like, he didn't come close to addressing a single thing. Not a single thing. It's hilarious. Let's see here. This is funny. I went to UFO Twitter to see what was trending. Manny503 says, yay, more boring testimony from the same old folks with no evidence. Just what we need to shift the paradigm, move the needle, and shock the ontological beliefs into the masses. Congressional UFO hearing. I'm going to a Disney cruise. Oh boy, let's see. Breaking news. This is coming from Mike Disclosure, the dickhead who gets everything wrong. David Grush testifying at the UAP hearing on November 13th. This has been confirmed by congressional committee members. This might be a shot in the arm that the UAP disclosure needs right now. Like, why? Why? It's a great question. Why is it the shot in the arm that he's already testified? What more could he possibly bring? So we got Tim Gallaudet, Dave Grush. Who else? Someone asks, "Hi, Mike. Is there supposed to be anything new being revealed?" Hi, April. Probably about his firsthand knowledge that he didn't testify about at the last hearing, and what he said privately at the Wall Street meeting he had in January 2004 here in New York City. He said at that meeting that the government is in possession of a UAP craft. So I guess Mike Disclosure was at that Wall Street meeting. And why is he allowed to tell Wall Street people the fucking secrets of the universe? But he couldn't do it in Congress? But he could do it when he's paid to show up at some fucking one percenter's fucking penthouse in New York City. When he's being paid God knows how much money to tell the crypto dickheads like Jesse Michaels and Peter Thiel and fucking Julian Dory and Danny Jones, like all these crypto dicks, that the UFOs are here. Trust me, bro, it's coming. You guys are in the inside because you're here at the New York City penthouse. You got the invite, you're in. But can't tell Congress, can't tell any news outlet. But if you're paying to go to the fucking New York City meeting, the penthouse meeting, you're in, dude. Fucking assholes, man. And that meeting I know for sure happened. So he said that the government is in possession of a UAP craft that is 40 foot on the outside and over 300 feet on the inside. So it's a tent from Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It's one of those magic tents where it only looks like, you know, a Volkswagen Beetle on the inside, but when you walk inside of it, it's the size of a mansion. It's even got a pool. So fucking stupid. He says it's an example of interdimensional technology that has also exhibited a temporal rift when entering the craft for 4 minutes and over 4 hours passed on the outside. Let me tell you something. If on the off chance that you're watching my show right now and you're a big fan of Mike Disclosure and Thomas Fessler and Lou Elizondo and Dave Grush and all of these grifting loser dickhead assholes, and you believe that somebody walked into a 40-foot craft to discover it was 300 feet. 300 feet? Is it 300 square feet inside? Because if it's 300 square feet, that kind of makes sense. But is it 300 feet by 300 feet by 300 feet? Okay, and also, if you believe that somebody stepped into this Harry Potter UFO tent and they only spent 4 minutes, according to their Apple Watch, they went into it at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But when they came out, it was 8 p.m. But according to their watch, it was only 4 minutes. It was only 4 minutes. What happened? He also confirmed that the biological bodies the government has are the gray type that have been described by abductees for decades. It was also confirmations from Grush with details about UAP technology and NHI bodies that were never officially confirmed by government officials before under oath. I will put any amount of money right now that not one of the things that Mike Disclosure just listed here will be discussed at that hearing. I will put everything, anything. I will stop the show. I will stop doing this show if I'm wrong. Straight up stop doing the show if I'm wrong. If just one of these things is discussed in the hearing publicly and proven, I'd be shocked if they just even say it. But let's see. We'll see. We'll see. This picture is always great. It always pops up. Anybody know the source of this photo? It's the Navy. What you're looking at here is not a UFO, it's a targeting balloon. A targeting balloon that's been shot down. The Navy has used stuff like this since World War I. So this isn't a UFO, it's just a targeting balloon. This is great. Shane. This is my meme. This is my meme, Shane. I own this meme. To all the people seeing all the bullshit today because Mellon has to go on vacation so he can't give you your alien disclosure. Welcome to the party, pal. Ted Rowe, keep the faith, UFO Twitter. When there's no faith in loyalty or virtue or chivalry, loyalty is no more. Virtue is no more, and chivalry is no more. I'm not sure what that means, Ted. Everybody's stoked about this UFO hearing. Look at this. When they show up literally right after tweeting and getting thousands of views about UFOs, it's a Chinook. Couldn't think of the name. It's Rotec Private. Hard not to wonder. This is the same girl that took pictures that we were talking about earlier. With Lou Elizondo. She now thinks a fucking helicopter is following her. A helicopter, which, by the way, you can't even see in this frame. It's so far away.
One of those,
Look how far away it is.
yeah. See, there's a jet.
There's a jet. There's a helicopter.
But there's propellers.
And look how far away they are. They're definitely following me.
It's the kind that hovers.
It's the helicopter. You know, the kind that hovers. Go on.
Is it a Huey? Is that what's her name?
A Huey?
You know,
No.
Big helicopters.
One of those big helicopters that hovers. What are they called? Anyway, it's 7 miles away, but it's following me, everyone.
Look like that.
No, I saw it. I could see the propellers.
She thinks because she got a couple thousand views and she was talking about UFOs that a Chinook and a jet followed her ass home. This is the kind of mentally vulnerable adults that are the target for Lou Elizondo, that are the target for Chris Mellon, that are the target for George Knapp, Jeremy Corbell, Ryan Graves, and you name it, Gary Nolan, all of them. This is the perfect person the perfect mentally vulnerable adult that believes in fantasies and thinks they're being followed home by fucking helicopters. How stupid are you? Seriously, how stupid are you? All the idiots on the UAP caucus remain intact. Great. Yay. Just so wonderful. So wonderful. Average Chris says, I'll state this again. The UFO community is so gullible, they don't believe the United States government when they say they're not concealing dead alien bodies and their craft from the public, but then believe former employees of the same United States government with sketchy histories when they say the opposite. It is so true, man. It is so damn true. Like here, Grant Levac put this out. Who do you think will testify at the upcoming UAP hearing on the 13th of November? You got Eric Davis, and Commander Wilson. What's his name? Eric Davis and something Wilson. I have the Wilson Davis documents right here. You got Tim Gallaudet, Lou Elizondo. So it looks like both of them will be there. Jay Stratton will probably not be there. And is this Hal Puthoff? I don't know. Who is this guy again? That's not Hal. Goddamn. Anyway, they probably won't be there. It looks like Lou says he'll be there, but yeah, we'll see. I love it too. The beautiful thing about Trump winning the election is that it shows there's no such thing as election fraud, right? Because if there was election fraud, he would have lost again, right? If the deep state was in control of elections, he should have lost the election, which goes to show that the last election, he actually lost it. Because if this voting is correct, then that means the last round of voting was correct, right? So he loses his first presidency, complains about the conspiracy in the deep state, wins the second one. All of a sudden, all that stuff goes away. All of a sudden, there's no more deep state controlling the electoral process. It's adorable. Let's see here. More orbs. More orbs. Look, these are people like, you're not, like, this is not happening. This photo, this fantasy of Trump opening the doors of a hangar with a UFO just hovering in front of it for him to reveal to the world. Yeah, it's just not gonna happen. So get that shit out of your head, dude. Oh, look, here we go. Darcy Weir. I'll be attending the congressional hearings to show my support. He got his patch, Elizondo Mellon 24. Whatever that means. Well, this patch actually is fucking, that's the best part. Oh my God, this patch is null and void because one of these two guys isn't going to the congressional meeting because he's got a vacation he planned. Perhaps next time. Maybe you can make a patch that says Elizondo Mellon 38. You know, give him some real time to plan for this. I guess 7 years was fucking not enough time. What a bunch of stupid assholes you are wearing this patch. Just stupid dickwads. Oh, you're so dumb. Forgive me. I'm in a mood today. But it's just so stupid. Look at this. Alberto Lopez. When two burly Latinos with big heads meet, thank you for all you've done for this country and government transparency. You deserve all the success with your book. You fucking suckers. You suckers. You guys are suckers. Here you go, your alien mummies. Let's see here. And I guess that's about it, man. Nothing too crazy. Nothing too great. Look at this shit. Phonology great again. Ay. Yep, there's a certain element of this community that was dying for President Trump. And they got it. It's great for them because they get to call people retarded and use whatever slurs they want now because now the President Trump's back. President Trump's back, so it gives me permission to be a complete asshole. Yeah, it's amazing. Anyway, that's the show, you guys. That is the show. Hope you guys had fun. I know I did. I always have fun. I want to thank everybody who came to hang out today. What's up, Lou? Have you bought tickets to my packed out speaking shows? Oh man, seriously, one of my favorite accounts. UFO Brew. When you get kicked out of gang stalking groups, you always have a home on UFO Twitter. Steve Long, it's great to see how skeptical and knowledgeable Lou has become on the history/culture of the topic. I never would have believed it 3 years ago. Hey man, here we are. Here we are. And honestly, Steve, I mean, you're one of the folks that, you know, helped me get here. So appreciate you. Bobby Broadway with Shagan, thanks for being here. Dennis Benke, be afraid of the Sofa King. He did it. Oh yeah, you're right. That was Lakatsky, Jim Lakatsky. Thank you guys. All these old white guys, sometimes I just confuse them. UFO Brew, Lou, could you shoot someone and they would be like, maybe? Elizondo Mellon patch versus actual testimony. I'm interested to see what they say. Like I say, guys, I will be here live on Wednesday morning. I think we're going to start the show around 8:15. They're scheduled to go on at 8:30 Pacific. So make sure you ring the bell. That way you're notified when we do take that live. And like I said, we'll have some friends and guests. Matt Breeder Syndicate, maybe you want to come hang out that morning and come listen to the hearing with us. But let me know, dude. Hit me up if you want to come hang out. But yeah, we'll have some friends there. We'll do a live streaming of it, and we'll talk about it and probably laugh at it more than anything. Because honestly, that's all this topic is really good for, is the lols. With that said, you guys, thank you so much for being here, all of you. Bobby Broadway, Simon Fly, Sarah McDonald, Builder Lee 72, Lord Ludacris, Pinzer Lou, my mod and member Sandra McDonald. Thank you all so much for being here. McDonald, yeah, that's right. And yeah, thank all of you. Dave B, I've become death. Thank you for being here. Yeah, thanks to all of you guys. So with that said, you guys, thank you so damn much for coming on this journey with me. Thank you for helping us raise the bar here at Lou Reviews. I got a really sweet tweet today from somebody saying, thanks to your show, I've been able to get out of this rabbit hole of nonsense. And it's just nice to get messages like that. So if that's you, like, share, subscribe, share the show, tell your friends about it, share it with the friends who are in the rabbit hole, and that way they can get both sides of this subculture. But yeah, without you guys, I can't raise the bar by myself. And honestly, it takes a community of people to help raise that bar. And after all the nonsense we've seen here, especially in the last 2.5 years, I think it's becoming more clear by the day that the bar is really low. And anything and anyone that comes forward with supposed information every time has been full of shit. And has been very easy to debunk. So again, that's because of you guys, setting that bar higher and higher every time. So with that said, you guys, I appreciate you. Stay skeptical, stay curious, and thank you for coming to hang out on another episode of Lou Reviews. See you guys soon. Not sure when, but hopefully soon. Well, I definitely know. Definitely next Wednesday we'll see you bright and early, really early. So we'll see you on Wednesday. After that, before that, I'm not sure. But either way, have a great rest of your week. Enjoy the weekend. I love you all. Peace.